Hey folks, welcome to the tutorial for halftone motion. This is my update to a previous patch. It was actually my very first patch that I put on JuiceBar. I thank you very much for all of you who have been interested in halftone motion, and I wanted to make some updates since Wire has been updated since then, and some really good techniques that I've learned over time. So I wanted to add them to the halftone motion. So this is halftone motion 2.0 and the tutorial. A couple things to talk about here. We now have different pattern types. There now is the Metaballs. Before there was only fractal, and I believe it was only Perlin noise that I had as an option. So now we actually do have different options within the system, and then what we can do is we can zoom in and out of those particular options to give us different kinds of Perlin noise, patterns that are going on behind the scenes. We have options to change the resolution of the actual pattern itself, which we had before. However, now we're actually able to go, pretty thick as far as just some random smattering of circles, but we also have the option to go really into detail of that pattern. And what we're able to do with this is we can really kind of zoom in and out of the pattern itself. So we can get this kind of pattern really kind of cycling through, and that was the reason why I liked it in the beginning. So that's the reason why it was like this before. But I had seen certain situations where somebody might like something like this, especially with the Metaballs. It's a little bit more user-friendly. If I add some cycle direction, it'll automatically cycle through those as a circular pattern. So that is one of the reasonings behind how this is set up now. We have the option, as we did before, to move X and Y in case you wanted to, change where your pattern starts and you wanted a different kind of look, but the same kinds of results. So that is not changed. There are some changings to the wrapping, where before I was just doing the ping pong. Now I've seen that there may be cases or instances where you wanted this kind of cycle instead. I'm going to change the resolution real quick here. So I'm going to change the resolution. There may be a case where you might want this instead. So then also I added the clamp as well. There are certain instances where this may be visually interesting as well. On top of the Metaballs, there's also the option for fractal, as we talked about before. Fractal is a little bit different. This is actually, I used Perlin noise before. And then there's also the option for simplex noise. There may be cases where you may want this. So I added it in because I thought that would be a really nice addition. So I'm going to zoom in just a little bit, and we'll change the cycle pattern and speed. So I'm going to slow it down. I'm going to bring it back to 0. There may be cases where you want it to cycle in a specific direction. So like for instance, right now it's cycling this direction, right? It's going from out to in, and then this is from in to out. So I thought that may be visually interesting. I also, in case you want chaos, there's more, ability to do chaos on left and right. Or if you want something that's a little bit slower, you can dial that in. The pattern cycle is to cycle the pattern, where it starts. There may be cases where you may want that, that control. So I gave that as an option. Now we also come to the part of the shape types. The shape types are still there: circle, rectangle, and hexagon and cross. To give you an example as to how that looks, I'm going to increase the shape resolution, and I'll decrease the margins in between each shape. So you get, the crosses, you get the hexagons, you get the rectangles, and you get the circles, right? So there's all kinds of different options. Some things that are nice also to have is, I was thinking it would be nice to kind of have this glowing outline, this new kind of effect, but there may be cases where you want both at the same time, so I've kind of added that into the mix. I think that's a really neat addition. Also, you have the option to change the incoming glow color and the outgoing glow color. Same as the contrast, the colors of the solids, right? So if I go back to solid, you can change the color from red to blue. You could go from yellow to to purple, and so you get this kind of flowing kind of look. Also, one of the things that I've added into this is the ability to change the contrast of those colors. There may be cases where you may want to do that. So, like for instance, I can really kind of dial in the colors, which you could do before with the color pickers, but there may be cases where you don't want to change the color specifically. You only want to change their contrast. And so I thought that would be a nice addition. I've also done that with the glow colors. The glow colors also have their own brightness and contrast. And as you'll also notice, there are groupings of specific things. So like glow colors is its own grouping, colors is its own grouping, and then you have your pattern specifications, which are for the resolutions, the types of patterns, circle, rectangular, hexagon, cross. And then you also have your random cycle, which is done through the noise. The random cycle information is also its own grouping. So there's 4 different groupings there. So let's go down to the bottom. I just wanted to kind of quickly go over the glow amount. There may be cases where you want more glow. So for instance, we'll have the glowing outline here, right? I can shrink down that glow so that it's not really overpowering. You'll notice that it's not switching here. You're not seeing a difference as far as the glow itself. And the reason for that is because the contrast is a little higher. So if I bring down the glow, the contrast, and then I change I apologize, I'm changing the wrong one. If I change the glow amount and then I go to glow colors and change the contrast here, I can really kind of affect how those glows are being affecting the pattern and the specifications and the random pattern, right? It gives it this different kind of look. But I can also increase the glow amount as well, right? If this is not enough, I can then increase the brightness, and now I get a real crazy glow. You also have the option to change with solid color with glow, right? So now I have both running at the same time. I have the solid colors and the glow colors on top of that, and they cycle through with each other based on the color cycle amount. Both of them are set to 0 right this moment. So for instance, if I just go to glow outline, here's my color cycle. If I change that, you'll notice it'll go red to blue, and it'll cycle through it quickly. So I thought that was visually interesting. I thought there could be a case where that would be something that people would want, right? I thought that was visually cool. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the halftone motion tutorial. Again, I thank you all very much for your interest in halftone motion over the last year. It has been a wild ride doing all this wire patch, and without all of you out there with your interest in what it is that I'm doing, there is no me. So I thank you very much for all that you've done, and I look forward to the years to come. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, comments, complaints, concerns, you can always email me at Jacob, Jacob, Mesick, Mesick, @gmail.com. Thank you very much again for your interest, and you be sure to have a good day.